Welcome to Channel X TV, and delighted to be joined by Ed Bradley today. And we're going to be talking about consumer confidence, which is at its lowest level in over a year, I think, and how retailers need to rethink their strategies basically to stay competitive and show consumers why their brand is worth it. So, welcome, Ed. How are you today?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, very well. Good to be here, and thanks for inviting me on.
So we're recording this, Ed, just as the national insurance hike is about to kick in this week, which for those watching in a couple of months' time was the 1st of April 2025. And I think it's fair to say that a lot of bills are going up for consumers as well this month, which is just going to knock their spending power. The energy price cap is changing. If you've got a mobile phone, which just about everyone has, you're probably going to see a mobile phone bill go up. Your TV subscription is likely to go up. Your broadband is likely to go up. It seems like it's been a year that's just knocking consumers non-stop. What are you seeing for consumers? What's the sentiment that you're hearing?
Well, I mean, all of those things are true. Unfortunately, there are cost of living squeezes wherever we look at the moment, and that's obviously going to have an impact on the consumer. There is also pressure, particularly on the retailer. Retail being the biggest private sector employer that we have
Yeah.
in the country. Clearly, all eyes are on the retailer to see what the effect of the national insurance hike would have. We have many retailers already laying off people. We have, the reluctance to hire, and that's going to put pressure on customer service and delivering the service that the retailer is used to providing for their customer. The retailer themselves will have to look for ways to bridge that gap in terms of applying new technologies to provide efficiencies, to try and do more with less. For the consumer, obviously, there will be a hesitation in spending. There's no doubt about it. People are looking at their own personal finances, and that will really mean that they are more cautious about spending in the market. There's no doubt about
Mm.
it. I mean, obviously, the from the retailer's perspective, what this does is it really puts the focus on just trying to offer value to the consumer, to
Yeah,
make sure that their customer is getting a really good deal.
and that's exactly what I wanted to talk to you about today is um, what can retailers be doing? Is it just price, or is it other things they can be doing, like blending in-store retail drop shipping or marketplaces? Is it offering different delivery options and services like buy online, pick up in store to get them into the store? Is it returns in store? What's really going to move the dial for the retailers, and how should they be approaching the new world that we're in at the moment?
Well, anyone who's listened to anything that we've ever put out on our podcasts and things before will know that we often say that there's two ways that a retailer can grow their business. They can add customers or they can add products. And the although that massively simplifies it, what it does is it really highlights that for a retailer to acquire a net new customer can take 5 to 25 times the marketing spend than to retain an existing customer. And so once you have a customer, the real the game is now to make sure that they have the best customer experience, the best range of products, the best process of discovery to find what they're looking for, a really informed choice of products. And so retailers are now focusing more than ever on extending that online range far beyond the range of products that they hold in stock, in store, and so that they can offer as much choice as to their customers as they possibly can. And that's done through a combination of dropship and marketplace propositions. Now, once you've done that, then to your point just now, you have to make that a really great customer experience. So you have to make sure that if that product is being delivered by a third party seller or supplier, that it's being supplied immaculately to the store or to the home address, and the whole life cycle of that order is captured. So cancellations, returns,
Yeah.
substitutions, all of that is completely seamless, whether it's in store or online.
And talk to me about some of the retailer kind of excellence cases that you're seeing. I mean, we all know the big marketplaces like eBay and Amazon. We're well aware that the Debenhams, B&Qs and the Tesco's of this world have opened up marketplaces. But what type of retailers are operating sort of the 2P dropship marketplaces that we may not be aware of? And which ones are doing it really, really well?
Well, excuse me. Retailers have been doing this for many years. Is the reality, and so all retailers have an element of dropship. Some are doing it extremely well. The likes of Argos have been doing it well for many years, and we see Currys really leveraging direct delivery from their supply base into store and into the customer's home address as well. The dropship element is an interesting one because everybody looks at the marketplace wave that's happening at the moment and looks at that and says that's range extension. But actually, dropship, because it goes on in a much more sort of invisible way, because it's actually you're still buying from the retailer themselves, you don't see it quite so much. But the likes of Amazon, I mean, 60% of their books that they deliver are drop shipped from a book wholesaler. So it goes on without really even knowing that it's a marketplace proposition or thereabouts. So we see a lot of retailers doing this extremely well. I mean, if I focus on Currys, they leverage their direct delivery from really core brands, the Whirlpools of the world, the Bosches, the Samsungs, and they provide their customers with a much more extensive range of products that are delivered directly from these core brands. And so you have the brand taking consideration of the customer experience, which is really sort of hand in hand with that of Currys. So so they are doing it extremely well, and no longer do you go into the store and with a return and wonder whether you're going to have any sort of someone's going to sort of look at you sort of with glazed eyes. That experience now is becoming much more joined up within the retailer, and so the consumer can expect to have a good customer experience if they're trying to return a product as well as collect it from the store.
And I think that's really important. The way that retailers are sort of delivering agile, personalized experiences that customers want, even when they've not actually shipped the product themselves, but they need to be fully aware, both online, telephone support, in store, that they have actually sold this product. But is this going to become even more important in the future as more and more retailers embrace drop shipping?
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. I mean, it needs to be as seamless as your core delivery from your own sort of 1P, as they call it, distribution center. The service that you offer your customer through dropship or through marketplace has got to mirror the service that you give them from your own distribution center if you're a retailer, and that's the key. And so all of the SLAs that you impose on your suppliers and your sellers need to mirror those that you have for your own suppliers, or that you impose on yourself from your own distribution center. That's really the key, and every aspect of that. So whether it's support through the web, or it's the call center, or it's a cashier, everybody needs to have one joined up experience within the retailer, set of processes that mirror all of those policies and all of those SLAs that are expected by the consumer, so that the consumer doesn't have to worry or see or even consider the fact that this is coming from a third party. It needs to all be completely seamless, and then you can grow your range, and you can scale without confusing the client at all.
So I think it's without question that brands and retailers are going to need digital tools to kind of streamline supply chains, especially with drop shipping, as they're cutting their inventory costs. But how can these tools boost productivity? And are we seeing AI coming in here?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about dropshipping is that it's not just a revenue play. It is a range expansion mechanism, because you're selling more products, and so you're driving revenue to the business. But actually, if it's used properly, it's a lot more powerful than that. And what I mean is that you can actually look at the profile of stock that you have in your own warehouse, in your own distribution center as a retailer, and any slow moving items at all, push them into dropship suppliers. That way you can still own the transaction yourself. You don't have to rely on marketplace sellers for core products. You can then destock the warehouse, so it's really, really efficient, really optimized, and so you're only stocking core products that are turning fast within the warehouse. Everything else you can still offer to your customer, but they're fulfilled through dropship. And then you start getting yourself really, really efficient. And then the further point is that, a retailer's business, by the very nature of buying patterns and seasonality, is can be quite sort of lumpy. It can be quite sort of spiky throughout the year. You have peak seasons, and you have sort of lulls. And all retailers go through a kind of a bit of a cash pinch at some point along that life cycle. Well, what we've seen work very effectively with dropship is that retailers put the dropship products on promotion, and really, really, market them aggressively. Then they're pulling in the cash for those products at the time that there's a lull. And because they're extending sort of 30, 60-day payment terms, whatever, to the suppliers, then they're not actually having to pay those suppliers during that lull. They can wait and ride that out, so that they're actually sort of smoothing out the cash bumps. And if done very well, that's a very effective way of creating stability within the retail operation.
And I think you said something very important for the supplier there, who may be selling on marketplaces on other as well as their own website. But if they're embracing dropship, I think one of the huge advantages that you said is that the retailer treats it as their own product. So they'll do all of the promotions. There's none of the sponsored product or promoted listings that you've got to invest in. You're supplying the product, and then the retailer is including it in their own promotions. I mean, the weather's just turned sunny, Easter's coming, barbecue season. If you're a barbecue supplier, you're probably investing heavily in keywords. But if you're drop shipping, it's the retailer that's going to be paying that promotional advertising for you.
Well, yes, that's true. Although it's quite funny, because the retail media aspect of it is seen as a marketplace function, whereas actually there's no reason why any product can't be advertised in this way on the website. If a supplier is actually stocking, selling a stocked product in a retailer, there's no reason why they can't buy that top spot nevertheless. So although it's seen as a marketplace thing, it's actually any product, stock, dropship, marketplace, anything that can be promoted in that retail media side. But you're right, the retailer is also the one that's pushing the products via dropship. And the big difference, I suppose, between the dropship and marketplace aspects in that respect is that the retailers sort of is carefully merchandising the dropship products as if they were stocked products, and so they have a product and pricing strategy that carefully incorporates those. And so, like you say, when it's sunny weather, we've seen huge increase in orders. Matter of fact, we've through our platform, we've seen a marked increase in orders over the last 7 or 8 days, because it's been really great weather, and so everyone's been prepping for the barbecue season and all the rest
Getting the
of it.
gardens ready and straightened out.
Yeah, so I mean, so hopefully that's been very welcomed by the retailers, because but then you're sort of reliant on the British weather, which is not always a great strategy. But yeah.
So before I let you go, I want to kind of try and envisage the future of retail and how retailers can integrate stocked in and dropship products to kind of maximize range extension and basically create as much consumer demand to go to their brands as possible. For someone that's thinking about this, what should their strategy be? Where do they go to get started? Do they start by dissecting the range and, as you said, deciding to move some stock products into dropship, or should they be just focusing on expanding the number of products, the range extension, just getting a whole load of new products in to start with? How do you start thinking about doing the merge of dropship with stocks in retail?
So if you're a retailer that's only beginning to look at dropship, I would say that the best place to start is look at your own suppliers. So if you have a supplier that you already buy stock products from, you probably only we take, for example, we have a supplier that might have 5,000 products in their catalog, but the retailer only stocks 100 of those. Well, there's your initial sort of range extension option. Just feature the rest of the products from that trusted supplier on your site and make them available to your customers for choice. And so you don't have to stock any more of those products. You don't have to go and source any new suppliers. You're just stocking that. You're just featuring their full range. And actually, if you look across the retailer's existing supply base, that's an extensive number of products. Generally speaking, a retailer will stock a very small percentage of their current supply base's products. And then, of course, beyond that, then there's opening it up to new suppliers within your core category, and then beyond that, look at marketplace for additional adjacent categories that you don't necessarily stock or you're known as for your core proposition. But yeah, if you're starting out, definitely look at your own supply base. That's for sure, because you've got a trusted SLA and delivery fulfillment capability from them as well. So it's definitely the best place to start.
Great top tip there, looking at your supplier base. But Ed, people are also going to want to know how Virtualstock can help them. What do you do, and how can people get hold of you?
So we have a platform that enables dropship to scale within the retailer, and what it does is it provides a one-to-many connection between the retailer and their supply base. We take product data from those suppliers, and so it becomes very easy to feature that online by pushing it into the ERP and the PIM systems and the web of the retailer. We provide stock updates from those suppliers to feature an in or out of stock position on all of those products online, and then we process the order back to the supplier and track and trace it all the way to delivery in store or to the customer. And so what that does is it allows you to have full visibility, management, and control of hundreds of thousands of orders all in flight at the same time from many thousands of suppliers. And so it allows you effectively to scale and maintain that customer experience. So if you look me up, Ed Bradley, on LinkedIn, I'd be happy to have a chat about any of that, or virtualstock.com. You can get in touch with us there.
Fantastic. Ed, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Chris. Good to talk to you.